Today we be going over the top 5 criminals who operated in plain sight. Sit back, grab a snack and hit the subscribe button. Roll the intro. Pillowcase Assailant. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Orange County, California was terrorized by a man dubbed the Pillowcase Assailant. This criminal operated under the cover of darkness, breaking into homes while victims slept. He gained access through open doors or windows, often targeting houses in quiet neighborhoods. Once inside, he would cover the faces of his victims with pillows or blankets to silence their screams, making his assaults both terrifying and traumatic. Despite a series of brutal crimes spanning over 30 incidents, the perpetrator remained at large for several years. The community lived in fear as police struggled to connect the dots in this mystery. Investigators had no solid leads, and the lack of physical evidence left them scrambling. Fear gripped the neighborhoods as people began to install stronger locks, set up neighborhood watch groups, and even slept with weapons nearby, hoping to prevent themselves from becoming the next victim of this chilling criminal. The tide began to turn in 1996 when DNA evidence from the crime scene started playing a crucial role. With advances in forensic science, detectives were able to analyze samples from several of the older cases, which revealed a genetic link to a suspect who had long evaded authorities. Through thorough investigation and detective work, they managed to identify a man named Christopher Wilson as their primary suspect. Unlike many criminals who were concerned about hiding in plain sight, Wilson had continued to live in the area, seemingly untouched by the fear he had instilled in the community. In 2010, Wilson was finally arrested, thanks to the continuous pursuit of justice by law enforcement and the tireless efforts of local advocates seeking to provide closure for victims. In a shocking twist, he was already on parole for another crime, living an unassuming life among the very people he had terrorized. The case showcased the power of modern DNA testing and forensic advancements, allowing victims to find closure and offering the community a chance to reclaim their safety. Ultimately, Wilson's conviction not only brought relief to those who had suffered under his reign of terror, but also served as a reminder that criminals can blend into society, appearing ordinary while harboring dark secrets. The Pillowcase Assailant case stands out as a definitive example of how community vigilance, scientific advancements, and persistent law enforcement can work together to unveil the truth behind those operating in plain sight. 4. The Boyfriend Who Went Unnoticed. In 2017, a woman in Texas found herself unknowingly sharing her life with a fugitive involved in a shocking murder case. The man, who presented himself as a charming and caring partner, had a dark past that included a violent history and a long-standing warrant for his arrest. Despite being wanted, he managed to establish a normal routine while living with the woman, seamlessly blending into her home and community. He skillfully manipulated the situation, keeping his true identity hidden even from friends and family. While their relationship progressed, neighbors noted no unusual behavior, and interactions with the couple seemed completely ordinary. To everyone around them, he was just another man in love, someone they could never suspect of being a criminal on the run. Law enforcement had his photograph in a profile, but he wore a different face altogether behind closed doors. However, his downtrodden facade began to unravel after a series of domestic incidents escalated the suspicion of the woman. Although she initially dismissed them as mere quarrels, the situations became hard to ignore and prompted her to do a little investigating of her own. What started as innocent observations soon turned into a jarring reality check when she discovered news reports linking her boyfriend to a cold case murder. Alarmed and frightened for her safety, she decided it was time to take action. With her newfound knowledge, she contacted law enforcement, who promptly reacted by launching an investigation. Officers arrived at the residence just in time, leading to the man's arrest. The woman was shocked by the swift turn of events, unable to reconcile the kind-hearted man she thought she knew with the violent criminal depicted in the reports. This experience served as a dramatic reminder of how some individuals can remain hidden in plain sight, evading justice and living normal lives while harboring dangerous secrets. The case ultimately revealed the critical need for vigilance and awareness in relationships. It underscored the reality that the most unsuspecting people can conceal their true selves, often leaving loved ones oblivious to the dangers that lie beneath. The woman's bravery in coming forward not only led to the arrest of a criminal but also impacted her community. encouraging others to stay aware of their surroundings and engage in relationships with an understanding of their partner's backgrounds. 3. The Farmers of the Golden State Killer. In the early 2000s, a criminal gang posing as farmers orchestrated a multi-state crime spree in the Midwest. They infiltrated various agricultural communities, presenting themselves as everyday citizens looking to make a living. By participating in local farmers markets and community events, they gained the trust of their neighbors, while simultaneously engaging in a range of criminal activities, including drug trafficking and scams. Their operations were meticulously planned. They used their guise to establish a reputation, often leveraging community ties and friendships to create a robust cover. Many residents were none the wiser as they believed these individuals were focused on farming, despite the underlying criminal activities. The gang's ability to hide their true intentions created a sense of normalcy and comfort among the local populace, leaving law enforcement without clues for their illicit behaviors. Things began to change when an undercover officer decided to investigate rumors swirling around the local markets. Complaints about unlicensed sales and questionable dealings led to surveillance efforts. This unveiled the true nature of the gang and the impact of their operations on the local economy and community safety. Over time, investigators compiled evidence that would ultimately lead to their arrest, but what remained surprising was how many community members had viewed the gang as contributors rather than criminals. As law enforcement conducted raids, many locals were shocked to discover that those they had shared meals and harvests with were not who they appeared to be at all. The realization that some individuals could blend into the fabric of their community while leading clandestine and unlawful lives shattered the trust in the neighborhood. When the members of the gang were finally apprehended, it sent a wave of concern through the area about the potential for others to exploit societal norms. This case served as a stark reminder of the dangers that can lurk behind facades of normalcy. It underscored the importance of community vigilance and the necessity for residents to remain aware of the people they interact with daily. The story of the farmers not only revolved around crime but also about the delicate balance between neighborly trust and the need for awareness, urging communities to look beyond the surface. 2. The subway slasher Chandrell Hooker. In the 1990s, New York City faced a wave of terror when a man named Chandrell Hooker, often referred to as the subway slasher, wreaked havoc on the city's subway system. Train cars became scenes of violence as he executed a series of brutal assaults and stabbings, often leaving his victims shaken and traumatized. Hooker operated in plain sight, targeting victims in crowded subway trains and blending in with commuters during rush hour. Despite a comprehensive investigation, Hooker managed to evade police efforts for years. The subway system, bustling with thousands of passengers every day, became his hunting ground. The anonymity of the dark subway cars provided him cover, allowing him to commit heinous acts while disappearing back into the crowd of everyday travelers. Many witnesses reported the attacks, but Hooker escaped capture, crafting a chilling narrative about the dangers that lurked in the city's transit system. The tide turned when investigators began to analyze the patterns of his attacks. They noted specific behaviors and similarities between the assaults that enabled them to develop a profile of the attacker. Increased police presence and surveillance led to heightened awareness among commuters, but Hooker continued to exploit the chaos, utilizing the sheer number of passengers to his advantage. He even boasted about his criminal acts to friends, viewing his notoriety as a badge of honor. It wasn't until a major police operation was launched to crack down on subway violence that Hooker was finally apprehended. Officers managed to catch him in the act of assaulting a victim, resulting in his arrest. The operation highlighted how community vigilance and law enforcement collaboration could contest even the most dangerous criminal. After Hooker's capture, the city united in addressing subway safety, emphasizing the importance of educating commuters on awareness and self-protection. The story of the subway slasher serves as a cautionary tale about how danger can lurk in the most unsuspecting places, even among crowds of ordinary people. 1. The Theranos Deception, Elizabeth Holmes. In the early 2000s, Elizabeth Holmes emerged as a prodigy in Silicon Valley, capturing the imaginations of investors and the media alike. With her vision of revolutionizing the medical testing industry, she claimed that her company, Theranos, had developed groundbreaking technology capable of running a multitude of tests using just a few drops of blood. The allure of quick, affordable, and convenient health diagnostics positioned her as the youngest self-made female billionaire, and she quickly became a poster child for innovation and entrepreneurship. Holmes wore her signature black turtlenecks and maintained a carefully crafted persona that drew comparisons to Steve Jobs. She skillfully presented her company as a paradigm shift for healthcare, attracting hundreds of millions of dollars in investments from notable venture capitalists and even former presidents. As she basked in the limelight, it's easy to see how many couldn't suspect that beneath the surface lay a series of deceptions that would eventually unravel. She operated in plain sight, deftly navigating boardrooms and prestigious media engagements, while behind the scenes serious flaws plagued her technology. However, cracks began to appear in the facade of success. Investigative journalism, most notably by John Carreyrou of the Wall Street Journal, raised questions about the accuracy and reliability of Theranos' testing equipment. Whistleblowers emerged, detailing a culture of intimidation within the company that stifled dissent and concealed problems. Rather than innovating health diagnostics, Theranos was reportedly using traditional testing methods, overshadowing the company's bold claims. The truth began to surface, and the once adored entrepreneur became one of the most scrutinized figures in the tech industry. In 2018, Holmes was indicted on multiple counts of fraud following the collapse of Theranos. The once promising company faced lawsuits and regulatory scrutiny, ultimately leading to its dissolution. Holmes's dramatic fall from grace was a wake-up call to Silicon Valley and investors who had been blinded by ambition and charisma. The trial that followed captured nationwide attention, as many sought to understand how someone could deceive so many for so long while operating under the guise of innovation and progress. The story of Elizabeth Holmes serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of blind trust and the importance of due diligence in the world of entrepreneurship. Behind the facade of success, ambition can lead to ethical boundaries being crossed, as evidenced by Holmes's dramatic rise and fall. Even those who appear to embody visionary leadership can harbor secrets, reminding us all that vigilance and skepticism are crucial in the face of extraordinary claims.